there's a bit of audio commentary that I'm gonna play, but before I get to that, let me just say this right quick. Um, we may have some issues with Kevin Hart and everything like that, with some of the stuff that he said and done in the past. But at the end of the day, I would like to wish him a speedy recovery. By now, y'all already know he was in a very terrible accident in which he has suffered some back injuries. I saw a picture of the vehicle and it looked like a crushed soda can. He is extremely lucky that he is still breathing. And the latest that I heard is that they had to put some of the projects that he's currently working on hold until he's able to recover and able to be back to his full self again. So I do wish him a speedy recovery, and so he can continue to go forward in his career. Now what I'm going to do is play this audio right here, because now we're going to get into the meat of this story, and then I'll finish off with my commentary.
And with all that early success, you felt it was important to make an announcement recently.
He said he was gay, so what?
Yeah, what's the point? So why did he feel that was necessary? So who cares? That's actually my question. Why did he feel it was necessary to come out and say that?
It's not that it's being forced. It's just knowing growing up, I'm growing up to hate this shit. I'm not supposed to ever like this.
Hate what? Hate what?
Homosexuality, gay people. Come on now.
Why are you going to?
If you're really from the hood, it's not some. So it's if for me, the cool dude with the song on top of everything to say this, any other time, I'm doing this for attention in my eyes. But if you're doing this while you're at the top, it's for real, and it's showing it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Exactly, it doesn't.
There it is.
Okay, so you just heard that exchange right there. And that exchange was between Kevin Hart and Lil Nas X, who you see in this picture right here. And it was on this show called The Shop Uninterrupted, which is a show that comes on HBO. And I believe it's LeBron James' show, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if LeBron was in the shop that day. And they basically have I guess you could say I'm not gonna say round table discussion, but just basic discussion that you would think would be had in a barbershop. Now, there was a couple of things that was wrong here, and none of it, in my opinion, was on Kevin Hart. This falls onto Lil Nas X. As y'all know, Lil Nas X over the summer recently came out about his sexuality, saying that he was gay. Like I said, in 2019, it is what it is. At this point, there's no longer shock and awe when this kind of announcement is being made from celebrities. But they would almost like it to be like this big thing, as if we're supposed to throw a parade for him and just roll out the red carpet. No, that's not how that works. And it's okay, he's gay, whatever. And then we just kind of left it alone after that. So he's on this show, and he basically was, they was talking about him coming out about his sexuality. And then Kevin Hart interrupts him and says that he's gay. And he's like, so what? And that's exactly how many of us were feeling or thinking the same thing. So what? I mean, remember, Ryan Russell just did it. The whole the Malik Yoba situation, that's a whole nother can of worms. So I'm going to stick with Ryan Russell. He did it. It's okay. But the thing is, when he did it, he's trying to say that he's trying to get a job back in the NFL. And he's using the fact that he is coming out as quote unquote bisexual. And I put that in huge air quotes. That this would probably be a way for him to get back in the NFL, much less even on a team or a tryout, which I highly doubt is going to happen looking at those stats. But Lil Nas X was saying something in there that literally made us all look at him with the side eye. And that's the part where he says, growing up in the hood, basically scared to have this discussion. So basically what he was doing is he was leaning into the direction that that whole trope of black people, especially black men, being the most homophobic without him actually saying it. That's basically what he was saying. And I was listening to Tariq talk about this on a live stream the other day. And I think he was saying that Lil Nas X is from Atlanta. which we all know in Atlanta happens to be like a haven for people who are black and in that community. So it's like you felt unsafe doing that there when that's literally the mecca for people who identify as you do. Like something's just not clicking, something is just nup. But it's the fact that he had to throw that in there. And then when Kevin Hart pretty much said what he said, then all the little advocates came out and said he was homophobic again. And I say again because if you remember back in 2009, he put up these tweets and he was talking about his son. And then he was supposed to host the Oscars, what was it, last year or this year, earlier this year. And he caught so much flack. They brought those tweets back up saying he was homophobic. And he decided to bow out of hosting the Oscars because of that. He just didn't want to face too much backlash behind it, well, more so than what he already did. Then you had that Donna over at CNN go and try to have him come on to the show, and basically he said to have a discussion. I said, Kevin Hart, don't fall for it, because what he's going to try to have you do is apologize, and you ain't got nothing to apologize for. Is like, I keep hating when they try to make people apologize for something that's not even worthy of apologizing over. For what? It wasn't even it was real tame compared to some things that I have read. He didn't wish to cause harm to anybody. He didn't say he hated them. He didn't even make death threats. He just said what he said, pertaining to his son. And it actually was said in a very jokingly manner. But a lot of them, those people in that community, wear their heart on their sleeves, or they can't wait for a dig to be taken. They can't wait to take a dig at black people, especially black men. I swear, they have us in their crosshairs when something is said about them all the time. Now, I have a question to the black men who are watching this video. Y'all frequented barbershops. I'm sure many of you, all of you have. What kind of conversations are had in a barbershop? I can guarantee you that it is nothing like the one you just heard in this clip. Remember, this is a show. So for all we know, that question right there was most likely scripted. But Kevin Hart's response probably could have been real. But I know when I'm in a barbershop, the discussion that's usually had is maybe, of course, sports. That's going to always be a topic. It could be, of course, women, roast sessions, and a host of other things. But talking about men's sexuality is usually not a topic of discussion. Now, of course, with the whole Malik Yoba situation, I'm sure that's a topic of discussion. But it is what it is. As a matter of fact, the last time I was in a barbershop, which was last week, we were talking about the Dave Chappelle special. That's what we were talking about. And then they turned on John Wick, Chapter 3. A very, I guess you could say, manly film. And as a matter of fact, I'll give you another little story. One time when I was in a barbershop, and this was months ago, it was a gay guy that came into the barbershop, and we could look at him and tell that he was gay. He wasn't overtly flamboyant and flaming or anything like that. Now, if how he acts outside of there, that's his business. But when he came in there, we automatically knew he was gay. We didn't feel any type of way about it. We didn't look at him any type of way. He even engaged in some of the conversation that was being had, and we thought nothing of it. We didn't have no conversation like which in any exchange as what you heard right here. That's why I said I think this was scripted. But it was set up that way to put Kevin Hart in another bad light. Now, mind you, this episode, I believe, aired I don't know if it aired before his accident or after his accident, but the way it's shaping up, I'm thinking it aired after his accident, because it seems very recent, and his accident was well over a week ago. So I think that's probably what it was, because I haven't watched an episode of this show in so long, so I don't know the scheduling of it. But they literally are trying their best to push this onto black men, because they know that we They said in order for them to get the true social acceptance that they need our full-blown support, full stop. They already got the support mainly as a collective from black women. That's why they hang off of them so much. But they need the support from the black men as well to make the set complete. And we're not giving it to them. See, they're so used to us being so accepting of a lot of things, damn near everything, and in a way that could be seen as our downfall, because we're so accepting of everything and everybody. But the minute we push back and says, no, this isn't cool, we're not with this, then you're homophobic. You don't like people in this community. It's like literally it becomes a negative. They go from 0 to 100 in 2.5 like it's nothing. And they use that as a guilt trip to try to silence us. That's no difference than a palm colored person bringing up that whole black on black crime thing. That's their way of trying to silence us. But we've figured out how to break through that barrier. They can thank all their mass shootings and a host and plethora of other things for that. But with the gay community, they love throwing around that homophobic term, which, by the way, phobia means to be scared of something. I mean, do they not know how to pick up a dictionary and look up the definition of the word phobia? It means to be scared of something. Us calling out this behavior is not a phobia. It's just calling it out for what it is and being a realist. But everything for them has to be homophobic if we don't agree with it. And they throw that onto us the most. Yet all the policies that are put into place, or anything that is against them that's put into place, are done by usually palm colored males. But they'll never dare call them out, because why would you call out the baker that's making your biscuits? So that's pretty much what it boils down to. And see, they see us as a soft target. If we weren't a soft target, they wouldn't be able to hit us with all the slings and arrows that they do right now. If they were to shoot any slings and arrows at us and we had that power, they would just deflect and they would just bounce off and right back in their direction. But because we don't have that kind of power, and because we don't have policy, we don't run the economy, we don't run the political climate or the political circuit, and a host of other things, they go and try to get it to us. Because even though we don't run all of that, we have one thing that works to our benefit that usually influences the world, and that's our culture. I've always said that we are the trendsetters of the world. Whatever we do, it has to get approved by us before others start to latch onto it. And they need us to latch onto like a leech in order for the rest of the world to see them as quote unquote normal. But we are not giving them the leverage, so that's why they have to fire back and throw tantrums and little trigger words like homophobic. We see through it. At least I do. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.